Can men take a hint? Can men take a hint, perhaps? Because you're so handsome doesn't mean that you shouldn't kiss me.
And for a lot of men, if they made a move like that, they'd be in jail tomorrow. So no, they can't take a hint. You gotta use your big girl voice and tell them exactly what you want or what you need, and see if you guys are on the same page. Not only that, but when women hint, they're often so subtle that they won't be able to tell. Like, a small look over is not enough to let him know your interest. And even if he gets a small inkling from something, he may tell himself that it's not actually the case. He doesn't want to get his hopes up for nothing. Or he may not want to jump to that conclusion and potentially make you feel uncomfortable. Oh, you don't know who she is? She gives the best dating advice. I can't even say that with a straight face as a joke.
When a man says, I've been taken advantage of financially before, he's trying to tell you he's not going to give you any type of money. So your response should be, oh, I'm so sorry you were having financial issues. I don't care if it's a pack of gum. I don't care if it's a candy from the store or a drink, like a bottled water. I don't care what it is. But whenever he's on his way to see you, tell him to stop and bring you something. Men like toxic, sprinkle, sprinkle. Right? If y'all haven't realized by now, men like toxic women. Don't be nice to him all the time. Always have an attitude and then be nice every once in a while. You said, what are you bringing to the table? Men are tired. I'm not bringing nothing to the table, baby. Sprinkle, sprinkle. If you want a woman to bring something to the table, go to IHOP. Men love mean women, period. Don't be his piece.
Hope that answered your question. This is so good. I can't argue with this one. It's true. Us ladies should definitely be washing our bras a lot more than we do.
I think men should be forced to get a vasectomy if they do one of these three things. Number one, default on child support. If you're not paying child support for your current children, you have no business having more children that you can't afford. Number two, get charged with domestic violence. There's no need for elaboration on that. Number three, they don't participate in their current children's life.
Are we going to hold women to the same standard? Not all vasectomies are reversible. We need to stop acting like it's a guarantee, because it's not. Plus, there's a huge amount of different situations that could cause these things. Like the father not being in the child's life. Well, is the mother creating an environment where he's allowed to come see his own kid? Oh, he's behind on child support? Did he just lose his job? Is he going through a rough time, or is he deliberately not paying it? And with the finances, are women held to the same standard if they can't afford their child either? Because we see this situation happen with both men and women all the time. Forcing someone to go through that because of one of these conditions is absolutely ridiculous. If this is a problem we want to address, we can start creating opportunities and resources for men who are struggling, who might need a little bit of help so they can be in their child's life. If they're struggling with mental illness or an addiction and they need help to get out of it so they can have a better presence in their kid's life, let's help them do that. If they're falling behind on child support and they lost their job, can we help them get another job? There are better ways of solving this problem, but whenever it comes to helping men and making men's life better, we always avoid that one. We always avoid that solution. Instead, we just want to assume that men have the absolute worst intentions. Then we just want to punish them.
To buy you a plate of food, how can you possibly think that this guy can take care of a family?
If a woman is not willing to cook and clean for you, how can you possibly think that she can take care of a family? You see, we don't live in that world anymore. Men should not have to provide everything if they don't want to. Just like a woman shouldn't have to be forced to stay home if she doesn't want to. Why is it okay to put these old-fashioned roles on men, but not women these days? This is a double standard that's not fair.
Around, every now and then I get a little bit terrified, and then I see the look in your eyes. Turn around, bite eyes. Every now and then I fall apart, and I need you now tonight, and I need you more than ever.
It baffles me how many comments I get from women saying, hey, this affects women too. This is a problem for women too. I know, I never said in the video that it doesn't affect women. I'm simply talking about how it affects men. My gut feeling tells me if I made the same exact video talking about how it affects women and not men, that I wouldn't be receiving the same exact comments from you guys saying, oh, this affects men too. Why aren't you talking about how it affects men? There is a variety of content out there for everybody. And I know sometimes my content won't be for you specifically. And that's fine. There is a ton of content out there for you. Or you could make your own. Talk about your own experiences. Just because I'm making content on how something affects men doesn't invalidate your experiences or doesn't take away your experiences of how it affected you.
I wish I was special. So focused.
I don't know, I think part of the appeal and overall specialness of it is him picking it out, with maybe a little input from you, because the reality is most proposals aren't surprises. There are usually conversations around it. This just makes you look really ungrateful for the most part. I think if he would have offered, like, hey, if you don't like your ring, we can return it, and you can pick out something that you like, and then you took up on his offer, I feel like with these situations, you need to be very careful. And heck, right before I got married, I found out that there are women who get a totally brand new ring when they get married, which is the weirdest thing to me. So if that's you, I mean, that's your opportunity to give a little bit more weight into what you want. If you actually plan on being married to this man for the rest of your life. Or you could do a small alteration if there's something about the ring that you would change slightly. Maybe you could talk to him about that, like, as part of the whole marriage part of it. I don't know. I don't get why so many women are super picky about this type of thing. And all men have a story about a woman, so is it all women? Or is it there's a chunk of the population, both men and women, that are out of line and ridiculous? I hate that so many women are using that song as a way to express hatred towards men. We live in 2024. You don't have to do any of those things. You can say no. And a lot of the times, we are self-imposing those tasks on ourselves and then blaming him for it when he didn't even ask those things. At what point do you set boundaries? At what point do you have those conversations with him? Saying, hey, I've got too much on my plate. Can you take some of this off? And be understanding that he does it differently than you do. And it's okay. Or can you guys afford outside help potentially if there's just way too much to do? Us ladies, we are not incapable. We're not little puppies that don't have options or choices. We have choices. There is no need to always constantly blame men and hate men for everything. When we can say no to those situations and have reasonable expectations out of our men that we have in our lives. If it's not love at first sight, you throw them away. I know this is a hard one. You go on a first date, there's no spark there. You think, I don't even want a second date. But if they didn't do anything that's a hardcore deal breaker for you, you should consider that second date. Sometimes the spark isn't there initially. Obviously, there are a ton of benefits to being a woman that aren't talked about very often. Just as a woman, I'm more approachable. I don't have to be perceived as a threat in every instance. I can't imagine what it would be like to be a guy and to just be seen as a monster when you haven't done anything. We need to give men that same respect and not assume that they're up to no good. 99% of men would not harm you. So we need to treat it like that. Oh, you don't know who she is? She gives the best dating advice. I can't even say that with a straight face as a joke.
When a man says, I've been taken advantage of financially before, he's trying to tell you he's not going to give you any type of money. So your response should be, oh, I'm so sorry you were having financial issues. I don't care if it's a pack of gum. I don't care if it's a candy from the store or a drink, like a bottled water. I don't care what it is. But whenever he's on his way to see you, tell him to stop and bring you something. Men like toxic. Sprinkle, sprinkle. Right? If y'all haven't realized by now, men like toxic women. Don't be nice to him all the time. Always have an attitude and then be nice every once in a while. You said, what are you bringing to the table? Men are tired. I'm not bringing nothing to the table, baby. Sprinkle, sprinkle. If you want a woman to bring something to the table, go to IHOP. Men love mean women, period. Don't be his piece.
Hope that answered your question. Ladies, if you think your man never checks out other women, you're wrong. I mean, you look at other men, it just happens. Sometimes it's even subconscious. And you denying that to yourself and being overbearing about it doesn't do you any favors. It just makes him less likely to be honest with you about it. It's one thing, if it's excessive, you can talk to him about it, nicely. But for the most part, just let it go.
I think scaring women about getting older is a tactic for them to have kids and reproduce, because now that I think about it, all of the happiest, most stylish, coolish, most confident women I know are in their 30s.
For a lot of people, it's in their best interest to have kids in their 20s, and that's not going to be for everybody, but it's worth considering and taking seriously, because later down the road, it's less likely that you will be able to have your own kids, and there's a higher chance for complications. That's why they encourage you to do it younger. Now, if you don't want to, that's fine, but it's not some sort of trick. You see so many women in their 30s that want kids more than anything, and they can't have them. They have to do all these extra medical things to try to make it possible. Also, if you want more than like 1 or 2 kids, it's going to take a little bit more time to get to that point. That's why they encourage you to take your dating life seriously as a woman when you're young. It also puts you in the best position to find the type of man that you want and gives you a little bit more time to work with.
What's a hill that you're willing to die on 1,000%?
He's not allowed to pay for everything. I've been seeing this guy and he's a bit old-fashioned. And there's nothing wrong with that. He opens all the doors. He insists on carrying anything that's heavier. He doesn't even let me walk on the outside of the sidewalk next to the cars. And I appreciate these things so much. It's so sweet. I don't require these things though, ever. But he also insists on paying for everything, and I'm not going to allow that one. It's like, this is where we're gonna have to compromise. Luckily, he seems okay with that one. A lot of women make their own money these days. We have careers, and we make just as much as men. There is no reason why we shouldn't be able to contribute in that way. Women don't often realize how hard it is to plan a date and how much goes into it. Women should plan dates once in a while, so he doesn't always have to. Fully understandable. I think having preferences on what your partner does for work is totally valid and acceptable. If you want to rule someone out for their job, then fine. Just be upfront and honest about it and don't put the person down. I could see this being true, and that's why when someone tries to put me down, I try to not take it personally. Now, if you hear the same thing over and over again by a lot of different people, there is a chance it could be true and you may want to look at yourself. But there are so many people out there that just go around tearing down others for no reason. Then why don't you get a job and pay half the bills? And then split the house duties. Or heck, why don't you go get a job, pay all of the bills, and offer him the opportunity to be a stay-at-home dad? I'm sure he'll take it. Yes, being a stay-at-home mom is definitely a lot of work. But why is it that women are now expecting the man to pay them to do it when they literally have all of their bills covered by him? Isn't that plenty? This is why so many men are opting out of relationships.